In this video, I want to share with you the #1 game-changing fingerstyle pattern for my personal playing, and I've seen this have game-changing results with students in the past, and I want to share it with you in this video. I had so many weird questions about fingerstyle at this sort of level where you're at now. I was doubting myself with so many things, and I want to answer a lot of those questions in this video as well. However, if you're taking this intermediate course afresh and you haven't looked at the beginner's course too much, you might be thinking we've not covered too much fingerstyle in this course so far. And the thing I want to make super clear is that everything I've done with a pick can be played with fingerstyle. And that can be done using one of two methods: the claw hand method and the orthodox method. The claw hand method is what we do whenever we're using a pick, and it is simply when we're playing a part, be it on one note, one string, or going down a set of notes and playing something like that, something really cool. When we've used a down and up pick in the past, you can do that with your thumb and index finger, and that is using the claw hand method. And to play a scale, that would, for example, be like this. And sometimes you can use the thumb twice and first finger twice, but in general, you're not using any other digits other than your thumb and your first finger. Claw hand method. Orthodox method is a little bit more useful for patterns such as the one we're going for today, which is where the thumb will be assigned to any one of the thickest three strings, string 6, 5, or 4. First three fingers would be assigned to strings 1, 2, and 3, index assigned to string 3, for example. That's mostly what we're going to focus on today. You can also do strumming patterns with your index finger and thumb. For example, index finger using a little bit of the nail. That sounds pretty much like I'm using a pick. Once we have a root note or any more dexterous strum, pluck with the thumb, strum just with the first finger. You can even do a thumb pluck. And perhaps even that knowledge is game-changing for many of you. But this one pattern was certainly game-changing for me. And particularly so because of where we can start off and where we can take it. Starting off with this exercise, if you've got some experience with fingerstyle, this is pretty like middle of beginner's course stuff. But very quickly we introduce something called Travis picking, and then we introduce this inside out, outside in pattern. And once we can do that with like any chord in every key, that ends up being pretty dexterous stuff that's really late, intermediate, early advanced stuff with this one same pattern. But let's not beat around the bush. Here are the 3 steps to the one game-changing fingerstyle pattern that maximized my fingerstyle progress almost overnight. These will all be demoed on a C major chord, and the inside-out pattern is this. Level 2 does this same pattern, but with full Travis picking, named after Merle Travis, the fingerstyle player. And the pattern is level 3 of this is inside out, outside in. Which is where the fingers go from playing strings on the inside to the outside and then back to the inside again. Inside out and outside in. Let me talk you through how to actually learn this though, and then we can apply it to your playing. And this is really important for fingerstyle pieces from here on out. just learning a fingerstyle pattern one note at a time isn't necessarily the best or fastest way to learn something. You should really look at what the thumb's doing individually, what the fingers are doing individually, and then put the two together as the third step in that process, even with all the entire chord changes that you'll do. So thumb, just with all the chord changes, but thumb only, fingers only, with all the chord changes, and then try and put the two together. And you're definitely going to have to do that process for when you start to have problems later in a piece, not just in the first bar. You need to be able to look at bar 17, the first two beats of it, and work out exactly what's happening, just doing the thumb all around that couple of bars, rather than always learning the tab from the start. Really, really important. And a lot of people have trouble with that, and it's because they don't learn fingerstyle patterns in the manner I'm about to show you. So let's have a look at what that method would be. So here's a full tutorial for how to learn the inside out pattern, which is level 1 of this 3-step process. All of this will be demoed on a C major chord, and therefore we start off with string 5 with the thumb, and all that thumb's going to do is go between string 5 and then string 4, and it's going to go alternate between those two strings, like this. While you're playing that, you can keep your fingers rested against the thinner 3 strings, or some people prefer to have their pinky anchored here. Either of those two is totally fine, but either way, all we're going to do is just play the thumb. Now, if we had a big chord progression to learn, we don't in this case, but if we did for our song, I would do this same process for the whole chord progression, and one of those chord progressions is C to C/B to A minor. For example, just to give you a little bit of distraction while you're keeping this thumb going. And I'd probably practice it in this fashion. That's what I recommend. We're then going to look at the fingers only and rest the thumb on string 5, the root note of a C chord. And the fingers are just going to go index and then middle on the 3rd and 2nd strings. Nice and even. And we can even do this while changing chord. I'm now on a C/B and then A minor. You noticed a little mistake then because I was talking. You could go back to the C/B, but it's really important to be able to do something like this while under the distraction of both changing chord with my chord hand, even if there isn't a sound change, and doing something while talking. Playing while talking is a great exercise, especially if you want to be able to sing and play fingerstyle. Just say words over it before doing this 3rd step, which is putting the two together. And with this pattern, they go alternate, starting with the thumb. Thumb, index, thumb, middle. Repeat, it's only 4 notes. That's pretty up to speed. Here it is slower for clarity. Notice that the thumb is on this right angle, so thumb up, no. Thumb over to the side and keeping like that. Fingers as vertical as you can get them, not like this. That is how we get a much better tone, and here that is super slow. And a little faster. And that's kind of up to tempo. You could even do that with the chord progression change. C/B and A minor. C/B. Back to C/B and C. Here's that same pattern, but with full 3-note Travis picking going over 3 strings. And this is a pattern that's named after Merle Travis, who was a guitarist, particularly active in the 1940s and 1950s, and was super influential, along with many other influential fingerstyle guitarists of the time. But this guy had this pattern named after him, so it's pretty cool. Travis picking tends to refer to any finger picking pattern where the thumb is going between 2, or in particular, 3 strings, especially in this fashion, and especially while the fingers are either playing their own pattern or indeed a melody. Melodic fingerstyle is what that would be called. But this is inside out with Travis picking, which is level 2 of this 3-level process. And again, to really get that from the ground up, if this is something that you're wanting to get as part of your playing, but you're not quite here yet, you're struggling, we play the thumb only first with the fingers resting on the thinnest 3 strings. And then we get used to this move with the 3rd finger. And we want to avoid just keeping 2 fingers down in this fashion, not because it's terrible and wrong, but because that is then using another finger that we could use for, and will use later even in this same course, to play melodies with that little finger. It's the only finger we've got free, basically. So this 3rd finger moving with the thumb playing Travis picking is definitely something to be practicing. And from now, because we've got that movement of the 3rd finger, we're just going to stay on a C major chord. And the fingers, it's only 2 fingers, the same again. And we want to go alternate. Thumb, index, thumb, middle, thumb on string 6, 1st finger, string 4, middle. This makes it a longer pattern. This covers a full bar now. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. When you're ready, that's a nice mid-tempo option. And that is our inside out with Travis picking. The final option just goes from full inside, out, outside, in. Index, middle, 3rd, middle. You choose when you're ready to move on to this. Sometimes it can take a week or a few days or maybe 20 minutes of practice, for example, on the same day, to go from level 1 to level 2 or from level 2 to level 3. But the full pattern is that. To be frank, Travis picking is a pretty old school way of playing. It was popularized in the 1940s and 1950s. However, it is iconic and massively beneficial for your playing because with a pattern such as this, we're going over all 6 strings with just 3 digits, just with your thumb and first 2 fingers. And this is that orthodox style of playing taken to the point of maximizing the acoustic guitar's potential to be a full solo instrument, not needing any backing track or any vocalist, but being fully self-contained, playing the chords, root note and melodies, or sometimes just implying chords with single notes played by the root on the thumb, and with the fingers playing a melody, with that root note in the Travis picking played by the thumb. The final thing I want you to be aware of, like with all fingerpicking patterns, we need to be aware of what string the actual root note of the chord starts on. For example, here it's been string 5, because when that is, for example, string 6, we need to start the picking pattern on string 6, and something that was previously string 5, 4, 6, 4 with the thumb becomes, when it's on string 6, and this would be the fingerstyle way that I would play a G, it becomes 6, 4, 5, 4. You could do this with palm muting as well, some people do. You could start to try a thumb pick, which we've got some thumb pick lessons in the Advanced Fingerstyle with Jarvis course that's available on the website. And that would be, for example, with inside out, outside in, with the full level 3 pattern. And again, to get to that level, perhaps the thumb needs to go first and then change the chord progression. Just thumb only, fingers only. Even if the chord doesn't change, still do it with the full chord progression, and you'll get those more challenging fingerstyle patterns. Let me know how you get on with this one, guys. It's a game changer.